Things are going great on my Minecraft world. I've spent an entire year building on this single player world. So today we're going on a tour of everything I've done, including my starter base, my starter village, and a whole bunch of fun behind the scenes and off-screen stuff. Now let's kick off this celebratory world tour. Celebratory is a big word to say. Now we will take a look at everything I've done in this village in a lot more detail, but we actually need to start back at my starter base, which is right here through this gate and back through the forest. I don't usually come this way in my videos because I never actually made a proper path, so that's actually a pretty good topic. We are gonna do all the on-screen stuff, but we're also gonna do a lot of off-screen stuff too. So you'll get to see some of the stuff that was never finished, like I never put a bridge over this river, and a variety of other stuff like that too. But for now, let's get onto our path and start at the beginning. Right here around this bend, this was my starter base. I built it as a tree house, and then over time it just grew and grew and grew. It quite overfits the tree itself, and actually what I'm about to show you is the absolute worst part of this entire world. You know what they say, save the worst for first, which is that I never, oh shoot, I went past it. I never did the interior. I feel so guilty about this. I put up a little fake wall and I've got a bed here, but I did not do the interior. I have kept my original wooden pickaxe, of course, and some other nice little things in there, but I really like doing interiors. So it feels wrong that I never got to it, but whoops. But that is the interior of the starter house. I did spend a tremendous amount of time out here on this platform, which I built originally, you know, to be safe from all the monsters down on the ground. We've got furnaces, all sorts of stuff. This is really sort of my workshop. And I've got this rope ladder style coming down here to a little bit of storage, a bit more storage, and crafting tools and things like that. Of course, over here you can see my various farms. These are all free range. No cow crushers on this world, nothing like that, although it's a little tight. It's a little tight in here, but they're not using all the space. Anyway, these were my farms. I put a lot of work into this starter area. You can see I textured out these walls and all sorts of stuff. Actually, that reminds me, I built like a dozen custom trees. This one's a dead custom tree, but you can see custom. Back at the time, I had a vision of setting this really dense custom forest back on the way back over to the village. I might still do that in the future, but I learned that making custom trees takes a long time, especially in bulk. This was my original starter farm here, just very simple, basic. I've actually still got a little bone meal machine here that I do use quite often. I ended up upgrading to a bigger farm over here. You can see I've got pumpkins, melons, a whole wheat field. I did this last fall. I don't know what it is about the fall, but it always gets me in the mood to make some farms. So this was my expansion to my starter farm, and it's actually still the biggest farm I have on this server when it comes to crops. Over here's my tree farm. I was really inspired by a tree farm that was made by somebody called the Windsword, and so I kind of just did little sections for each wood type. There's mangrove, obviously doesn't quite fit in, but got all these different wood types and they've each got their own sections. And I set this up out here. In retrospect, it's a little too busy, but I like the idea. I think I could condense each wood type down to a single chest rather than laying it out. The idea is planks are in here, slabs are in here, fence posts are in here. It's very busy. I think this would actually be better if I had just done each wood type on a single layer. So that's what I would probably do differently there, if anything. And here we've got the nighttime, and while it is beautiful, I do not want to die during this episode. All right, back to daytime. I do have underground a moss farm. I never show this on camera, but it's just down here in the water. I really like hiding stuff down in the water like this. Just put it really low down, put a door here, and then you don't have to really look at it up above. I hand farm my moss in here because I haven't automated it. I don't really know how, but I could learn eventually, but I literally just hand mossed it down that way. Definitely high on the list of projects for this world is to get a moss farm. But in the meantime, we've got this farm down here. We've got two more underground areas to the starter zone. And the first one is the mines. So we'll start there. It's right along this path. You can see we've got some smaller custom trees in this zone as well. There's a big tall custom, couple of customs peeking around. I do really like how the skyline turned out along here. Very similar storage style to what we saw back at the tree farm. This is my mine. And so I've got all the different stone types and things like that over here. Just filling up all their chests. Very easy. I do still use a lot of these to this day. This was my mine entrance way back in the day. It was supposed to be kind of like a dead tree. A tree stump that I kind of just go down into and do my mining. These were going to be like the roots. So this is the entrance to my mine. I have a little water drop here with a ladder. I still haven't put nether stuff in to make an elevator, but we've got a little furnace zone. Well, we got some stone in here. I think I hear a slime, which is weird. I've never heard a slime here before. Good bit of storage around. Cobble, little andesite pile, granite pile. You can see a lot of these are still full. Maybe not the andesite. And this extends into iron strip mines, going in a lot of different directions here. But the main area I spend my time now, there are axolotl and fish down there. The main area I spend my time now is either in this geode here, or I ended up finding a cave down here along this branch mine path. And it led me up into what are these called? An abandoned mine, a mine shaft. And you can see I've made it a lot safer over time. I've never decorated these areas, and I've not actually done this skeleton spawner. So I don't usually show this area on camera too often. It's not decorated and it's quite ugly. But up here, what I'll show you in just a moment, and please ignore this dirt staircase. I mean, this really needs to be improved. But what I'll show you over here is the triple cave spider spawner. Triple cave spider spawner, very close together. You can see I've got most of the floor is deep slate. Eventually I'd like to come in here and unearth the whole thing and turn it all into deep slate and maybe some amethyst, the dark glass you can see into it. I've also got my enchanting set up here. This is my main XP grinder. So I've got my enchantment set up. I keep a good amount of diamond stuff down here when I know that I need to do enchanting. Now we'll move on. If we come on down to the end of this mine shaft, you can see the cave kind of extends. Actually, not down there, over here. The cave extends down that way. It's really nice. There are always axolotl spawning and stuff like that. I have a diamond strip mine down that way. If you want to see it, we'll go very quickly. We follow the path. It's not too long. I would like to make this a little bit easier to traverse over time. Every time I come in, I patch it up a little bit, but I really don't do deep slate mine. I really don't do diamond mining that much anymore. Once you get mending, it's really just not that important. All right, the deep slate strip mine all the way down here. I go pretty far. I've done plenty of mining on this world. Nothing to take home with us. Let's get back to the surface. All right, back up at the surface, and I've got one more underground area to show you, and it's over here by my axolotl pond. So you can see we've got a nice stream leading up to this pond over here where I've got 4 axolotls hanging out, all 4 of the base colors. I don't have the super rare blue one, but these sure are cute. This was one of my earlier builds. Got a nice little waterfall coming down and then 2 little streams that go off in their own directions. Now, I had an idea early on of trying to breed up for the ultra rare blue axolotl. This is one of those behind the scenes segments. So I've got these little ponds in here to breed the axolotls, and honestly, it's a lot of work, and I never got around to really doing it. When I'm bored, I'll give it a shot. Oops, sun is starting to go down. So let's transition now over to our village. We've got, from this spot forward, everything manicured pretty nicely. This bridge, I really love the sight here, right as we come in under the bridge, where it opens up to the lighthouse and our statue up there, and we've got a textured cliff here with all sorts of custom trees and bushes and the water and docks off to our left. Let me sleep real quick. All right, new day again, and let's get back over here by the entrance. So the path here splits off in 2 directions. Up there goes up into the village and some of the last parts that we'll look at, but over here on the left is kind of my main area. This is where I spend a tremendous amount of my time. I've got this little villager trading cart. You can see we've got farmers here. with all sorts of trades. I should really upgrade to carrots soon, but the steak is still doing pretty good for me. I've got my donkey Penelope. I always like to have a donkey. They're like an early game shulker box. They're great. Nothing in there right now. Hi, Penelope. You're a good girl. As I was saying, this is where I spend a lot of my time. This is kind of like my starter base. You can see we've got a whole bunch of storage along the docks here, and the vision is to continue these docks all the way along over, let me jump into a fly cam. The vision is to continue the docks all the way along the harbor here, a little bit of a gap, and then continuing them all the way over to near where we see the ice. But for now, we've got these 3 little docks here, and this takes us out to our mending villager. Hey there, buddy. We've got mending, not too much else to speak of, but mending is good all the same, and this is I've done a lot of testing to make this boat safe and secure. Oops. All the testing in the world, but if you leave the door open, he's still gonna get out. I do want to come back and make this redstone powered. That's very high on my list of little projects to do. I like to give myself little projects and big projects because sometimes the big projects, they're a little bit intimidating. It's nice to have other stuff to work on for a while. All the storage here, you can kind of tell what's in the box based on what's underneath it. These are my general hot storage and bulk storage, and then over here is my main workstation, automatic bone meal, automatic smelting. Ooh, we've got some good food there. As well as little bits and bobs and all the things we might need. Coming up this way, I've been working on flattening out a lot of this land to build more docks and sort of harbor workstation leading up here to this lighthouse. Now, this lighthouse is my most recent build in the world. And up at the top, we've got an iron farm. We'll take a look inside. The interior is not finished, but you can see right there is the output of the iron farm. And I would like to come in here and put in an item sorter, an item filter to separate out the poppies from the iron, and who knows, maybe even a crafter to automatically convert the iron blocks, the iron ingots into iron blocks. There's our zombie and our scared villagers. Well, let's hop out of here. Out front, you may have seen this when we were looking before, I've got a couple of custom trees. This was my first time using walls in the trees. That's something I know B-Dubs has been doing for a long time. And for whatever reason, the villagers just can't help themselves but get stuck on these custom cliffs. That does it for the iron farm. Off that way, I've really not done any development. I'd like to continue the docks down here this way. I think that would be really cool with this lighthouse as the sort of high point. Over here, I've got a little pumpkin farm. This is temporary. It just gives me something to do to earn emeralds as I hang out here. And then over this way, we've got our buddy Franklin. He was the star of one of my early shorts on this world. He keeps those villagers safe. I don't know how they got in there, but they did. We've got more. This is all vanilla automatic village. We'll build all this stuff out one day or another. And it leads up over to the statues and the more manufactured area up there. Before we go that way, though, we'll pop back down over here, back near the lighthouse. This is another one of my sort of farming zones. This is where the path leads up this way, and we've got a couple houses, and I plan to keep these houses. I think these are these are nicely spaced out. I think they're a nice homage to the original village that was here. Again, another temporary pumpkin farm. We'll get rid of that soon enough. But I think this is a nice area that just kind of feels vanilla. And I do plan on keeping this area very vanilla. We'll do some upgraded paths. Be careful, man. We'll do some upgraded paths, but not too much more than that. I think this could be a nice area for some sort of a lookout. The boat looks really cool out there. But for now, it has not received a lot of development. So now let's head up to this sort of monument zone. Now up here, I don't have a nice path leading up yet, but that is something we will build. These are my 2 monuments of the village. We've got the giant villager statue that makes a great centerpiece to the skyline. And I've got my nether portal, which is built into a giant old tree stump. These guys are stuck too. Giant old tree stump. I really liked the idea of building inside of tree stumps early on in the development of this world. And we'll pop into the nether portal real quick. Here we go. This is my nether hub, or I should say the beginnings of my nether hub. Wow, I have not been in here since I built this, actually. Off that way leads to just some random nether exploration zone, and I've got a little bit of storage for nether related materials in here. Haven't spent a ton of time in the nether, but I did spend enough time to at least build this little safe zone. All right, now just up this way along this path, we have our giant villager statue, and this is actually my villager breeder. I'll pop into the cheat cam, and you can see this is a villager breeder. It just constantly pops out new villagers into the world, which I absolutely love. And one of my favorite things actually from up here is being able to look out at our starter zone and see some of the custom trees just barely poking through in the distance. Now, there's one more ugly secret to show you, which is right down this way, the villager statue behind me. And it is this giant pit that has got an absolute excessive number of villagers in it. You can see the golems are really, really fighting. We've got to do something to fix that. As the sun sets here, that does it for our 1 year Minecraft World Tour. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you in the next one.